Hello, welcome back to Close Friend Story. I'm your host, Sadie. So, from the title of this episode, you can see this is a really personal life update. I want you all to be cozy. I want this to be intimate. So, I'm recording this from my bedroom in my bed. So, let's get started. I have been kind of scared to announce this on the internet because I feel like it would make it more real once I do this, but here it goes. I am moving out of the US after I graduate college. I graduate college. This episode will be about how did I arrive to that decision and how did I figure the process of figuring out what do I want to do after college. And this episode is dedicated to every international student and people who just graduated college, especially Gen Z, especially international students in America who has to deal with all the visa stuff. So let's get started. So leaving right after I graduate has not always been my plan. My plan has always been staying here for a year, stay here to work after college, maybe for a year, and then I'll see how that will go. But ever since I became a senior in college, the idea of leaving started bubbling. But I still wasn't so sure about leaving. I wasn't very happy growing up in Hong Kong. After I moved to the US, I think everyone I know or everyone who knows me kind of just agreed that I'm so much happier living in the US. People would come up to my friends and tell them, from Sadie's social media, you can tell her that she's so much happier. And you might wonder what specific aspect of American culture or lifestyle that have contributed to my increased happiness compared to Hong Kong. I remember being in therapy and I told my therapist that I always think I am considered as loud and annoying but funny and confident in the US. Americans, especially Californians, I guess that depends on where you are, but Americans, especially Californians, are very open-minded, very tolerating. I would walk around campus and see someone walking around barefoot and no one even bats an eye. And I love that. And I remember telling the same thing to my partner. I remember telling him that I think I am considered as loud and annoying in Hong Kong, but funny and confident in the US. And we grew up together. My partner and I went to the same high school, so he knew me when I was a kid. And like me, he also moved to North America for college, so he also studied abroad. So I was totally expecting him to say something like, yeah, you were kind of loud and annoying when you were in high school. But no, instead he said before he studied abroad, he never met students who were expressive. And it's he never met any students who are expressive in Hong Kong, and it was a cultural shock for him, and he genuinely really admired these people who can be really expressive in class. So yeah, I think my personality fits better in the US instead of Hong Kong. So at the same time, I just didn't have fun growing up. So this makes me have a very strong hesitation to live in Hong Kong again. I'm not sure if I'll be happy living in Hong Kong. At the same time, I just don't know where to live if I am staying in America. I go to UCSB, so right now I am in the Southern California area. Obviously, I thought about moving to LA, Los Angeles, and I visited there a few times, but I just don't really see myself living there. It's a car-centric city. I don't see myself living in a car-centric city anymore. I grew up in Hong Kong, so obviously I am a city girl who rely on public transport. When I was thinking about if I should move to LA, I watched one of my favorite YouTuber, Best Dressed Ashley vlog. In case you're not familiar with Best Dressed Ashley, she is this YouTuber who used to post content about fashion, culture, and before 2020 she used to be very active. And she's an American who grew up in Maryland, which is on the East Coast, and she moved to LA by herself to go to UCLA for film. And I think she worked in LA like as a content creator after she graduated college. She graduated college in 2.5 years too. And she talks about the reason why she left LA and why she moved to New York City. The reason why she left LA is because she felt like she didn't belong there. She never fit into the culture there. And one of the reason why she moved out of LA is because she was feeling very lonely. She felt like in a car-centric city, where LA is famous for its crazy traffic. She felt like it's hard to maintain relationship because of traffic, because of how long you have to drive, and that made her feel very lonely. And that is a reason why I think I don't see myself living in LA. I don't see myself living in a car-centric city, and I think I will also feel very lonely. That brings me to the second city I thought about moving to, which is Seattle. So I have lived in Seattle for 1.5 year times during times of COVID. I didn't like it there. I think people in Seattle are all the same. Is they have the same hobbies. They like rock climbing, they like outdoorsy stuff, they like hiking, they like fishing. So again, I'm a city girl. I have always been a city girl. I just don't like outdoorsy stuff. The weather there really sucks, and during winter you get dark at 3 p.m. It rains a lot, and after living in California, I don't ever see myself going back to Seattle because of the weather and the people. My best friend still lives in Seattle, and her lease was about to end, and she asked me if I ever consider moving back to Seattle. Sharing an apartment with your bestie in your 20s is genuinely one of the most exciting thing that a girl can do, in my opinion. And I just don't see myself living in Seattle again, and I was so excited by this idea, but I just don't see myself living in Seattle. And the last city I thought about moving to is San Francisco. But after my family in the Bay told me they cannot house me, I quickly abandoned the idea of moving to San Francisco because I have never imagined myself living in the Bay Area. So yeah, just nowhere feels right. At the same time, I want to be a city girl, and if you want to be a city girl, I feel like you have to be in New York City, and I don't think I can afford New York City. I want to travel, and staying in the US kind of make it difficult. It's not impossible, it's just sort of difficult. And the last factor is the job market. There is a recession going on in the US right now, in my opinion. I think they're not even hiring local Americans. Why would they hire foreigners? Because hiring foreigners mean more paperwork. It probably costs more to hire a foreigner. So yeah, during a recession, no companies is really hiring foreigners, and working visa in general is just something that's very exhausting. It's time consuming, it's very stressful to deal with. I just feel like I'm 22 years old. Do I really want to put myself through the process? I'm not so sure about this. So yeah, spring quarter. If you're not familiar with the quarter system, spring quarter refers to the time between April and June. Spring quarter leading up to graduation, I was like having a crisis almost every day. I was stressing out about like my postgrad life almost every day. Like 2 weeks before my birthday, I was so scared to talk about the fact that I'm turning 22, I'm getting older, I am becoming a real adult. I know it sounds crazy of like I'm scared of turning 22, but I'm not scared of turning 22. I'm scared of like the responsibility that comes with getting older, like being an adult. Even though I am an independent girly who has been living abroad by herself for the past 4 years, I'm still really scared about like becoming a real adult. The weeks leading up to my birthday is on April 20th for 20. Super cool, iconic. I refuse to acknowledge the fact that I'm turning 22. Whenever someone asks me what am I doing for my birthday, like, Sadie, what are you doing for your birthday? And I would like shrug and refuse to acknowledge the fact that I'm turning 22. I know it sounds crazy, but like that did happen. I didn't have the courage to talk about this with my friends, like talk about my postgrad life with my friends. I was scared to talk about this with my American friends. I was scared to talk about this with my friends back home. And here's why. So I am very privileged and lucky that I do not have student loans and debt after I graduate college. And my dad passed away. I don't know if I have mentioned this, but my dad passed away. And he has left me some money. I'm the only daughter. I inherited some of his money. I felt so privileged that I have no debt and have some money right after college. I didn't want to talk about this with my friend because I didn't want this to come off as bragging. At the end of spring quarter, or before I attend my graduation ceremony, I decided to take summer classes and do this minor that is only offered in summer. I also want to buy myself more time to like figure out what am I gonna do after college. And I would say halfway through summer, I still haven't figured out what am I gonna do after college. I started content creation at the end of June. I feel like at the time I did it because I wanted to put something on my resume to help with my job hunting process. As time goes by, I feel like this could be my job. I feel like this could be something that I can work on. My family didn't rush me to find a job right after college. So yeah, I feel like I can give this a try. Like even in July, I still haven't figured out what am I gonna do next. The last straw, the wake-up call for me was a Lime scooter accident. I think in the middle of July on a random Tuesday, I crashed a Lime scooter into a parked car when I turned left, like when I swerved. What happened was I wasn't paying attention to the road. I was so stressful. I was thinking about, oh, what am I gonna do after college 24/7. I wasn't paying attention to the road, and that just happened. That was the moment I realized I need to figure this out. I need to finalize my decision. I strongly believe wherever I move to, I'm sure I'll be fine. I was just not sure that if that would be the best option for me. I just keep asking myself, what is the best option for me, and just feeling like every city that I've considered doesn't feel right to me, and I just couldn't figure out which city will bring me the most benefit. After that accident, it sort of made me realize I want to leave. Like, I'm more inclined to the idea of leaving the US. This is gonna sound kind of goofy or silly, and the Lime scooter accident happened before Kamala Harris announced that she's running for president. You may wonder why am I bringing this up out of nowhere, but you get this. So I told myself, if Trump got elected as the president of the United States of America for the next 4 years, I'll take it as a sign to leave the US, because I don't think I can survive Trump's America. And then very quickly I realized I want to leave and I'm just making up excuses. And then I decided, yeah, I should leave the US. And pretty soon Kamala Harris made her announcement, and I don't know, we'll see, at the same time I was like, why would I put my future in the hands of politicians? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I realized I was just making up excuses, so I decided to leave. But where? Again, I have very strong hesitation to live in Hong Kong. I don't think I want to live in Hong Kong. And the idea of digital nomad just pop in my mind. So in case you're not familiar with the concept of digital nomads are individuals who leverage technology to work remotely while traveling to various locations. This lifestyle allows them to maintain a flexible work schedule and explore different cultures. Characteristics of digital nomads. Digital nomads typically possess skills in fields like programming, content creation, design, and development. I was first introduced to the idea of digital nomad by a white tech bro who went to Harvard. At the time, he told me he would do this after college, and I was thinking like, you're so privileged, and I could never live a lifestyle like you do. Like, I remember that night, I have decided that I want to leave the US, but do not want to move back to Hong Kong. This idea popped into my mind, and I kept asking myself, why shouldn't I do this? What's stopping me? Why am I not doing this? What is stopping me from doing this right after college? And for the longest time, I have only considered US and Hong Kong, like US versus Hong Kong. I never thought about other options. Like, deep down, I always have this question in me that I have only lived in two cities or two countries, Hong Kong and the US. How can I be so sure that the US would be my favorite place to live in? Like, what if the most perfect place for me to live in is not in the US? What if it's in Europe? What if it's actually in Asia? There's so many unknown, and I really do feel like your 20s is about figuring who yourself is. I'm not gonna lie, for the first 18, probably 20 years of my life, I spent most of it learning how to love myself, and I spent most of it learning how to not hate myself. And now I have finally learned how to not hate myself, how to love myself. I think I should figure out who am I. I think not enough people are talking about our relationship to self. Maybe there is, I just not paying attention to. And I think your 20 is about fucking around. The more you fuck around, the more you're gonna find out. If you never fuck around, you're never gonna find out. I think there I have it. So I'll be based in Hong Kong, but being a digital nomad as a content creator and working freelance from time to time. I'll be back in Hong Kong in December. I think right now the timeline is kind of like that, but I'll be visiting lots of cities before I leave the US. I want to visit Chicago. Maybe I want to revisit Boston. I want to visit New York City. I want to visit the Grand Canyon. I want to see all my friends and family in the US before I leave the US. Yeah, I want to see the Grand Canyon. And I'll be going to a rave at the end of October with my friends. I'll also be going to Vegas with my friends for his 21st birthday. Very exciting. Yeah, after I made this decision, I can feel the stress levitating my body. I can feel the stress leaving my body. I feel 10 times lighter. And that sounds crazy, but I do feel like I'm open to more possibilities. I feel like I'm more relaxed. I feel like have more hope about the future. It's not as scary as I thought it would be anymore. It feels more exciting. I'm so excited. Like you can see, I'm like literally smiling when I'm talking about this. Again, I'm really privileged, and thank you, my dad, for supporting me, even though he's not with me anymore. You maybe wonder which cities or countries that I really want to visit as a digital nomad. Taiwan, Thailand. I love Thailand. My dad loved Thailand. So growing up, I went to Thailand for vacation a lot. My dad took me to Chiang Mai when I was 14, and I fell in love with that city ever since. It became my favorite city in Thailand. I love the city planning. The old town is basically a square, and there's so many coffee shops. The weather is so nice. The food is so good. Like after I visit Chiang Mai, it beat Bangkok, it beat Phuket, it beat Krabi, it beat Chiang Rai. I've been to Chiang Rai. So yeah, in recent years, Chiang Mai has become a very popular hub among digital nomad. And Japan, I have been quite obsessed with Japanese culture at this moment. Bali, of course. I have some friends who are also international students like me who lived in Indonesia, and I would love to visit. And you might also wonder how my family reacted to this decision to pursue this lifestyle. My family is very supportive. My aunt has always told me, like when I'm stressing out about my postgrad, she told me I can like think about doing the working holiday program in Australia. Like she is fine with whatever career or country that I end up having or living in. She said as long as I can support myself, she'll be fine with it. My mom, when I told my plans to my mom, I told her without using the word digital nomad, and she said, "Oh, so you're being a digital nomad, so that's great for you." And so yeah, my family are really, really supportive, and I'm very grateful. I have some thoughts after making this decision. Before I make this decision, I never consider if I am suitable for the 9 to 5 office desk job. And literally everyone I met, like literally everyone I know, has told me that they don't see me working at a boring office setting. But for the longest time, I have tried to stay in the US, and trying to stay in the US means I need to find a job. I know there's other ways to like stay in the US, but the easiest way for international student has always been like finding a job, finding a company that would sponsor you. I'm glad I kept asking myself what is the best for me, because I really think this decision is the best decision I have made at this moment about like in terms of my postgrad life. This really fits my brand. I don't know, if you ask my friend, you'll know I'm like that kind of person who have lots of stories. Actually, I remember calling my best friend back in Hong Kong about this. I was like, I have a really important announcement to make. And then she goes, "Oh, are you getting married? Or are you doing a master's degree? Or are you moving back to Hong Kong?" Like my friends know me really well, because actually I really am someone who would like go with like any of these options. Like I'm kind of unpredictable, not unpredictable. I forgot what is the exact word my friend used to describe me, but I think they said I would have like out of the box behavior, like something like that. Like I don't know, I take it as a compliment. They probably said that like you're so fucking weird, what the fuck is wrong with you. No, I love my friends. I am an only child, so my friends are literally my second family, is why this podcast is named Close Our Story. In case you're wondering, this podcast is named Close Our Story because for the past 4 years I have been living abroad. I treated my close friend story like a personal newsletter to my friends to give them an update on what am I doing living abroad. I love my friends. My friends are very supportive about my decision. They're really happy for me. My partner is also very supportive about this decision. Before I make this decision, I actually asked him, hey, so what do you think about me traveling around as a digital nomad? And he told me he actually do see I be doing something like that, and he said he would prefer me doing that instead of stressing out 24/7 in the US. We started the relationship as long distance couple. We still are, but it has been manageable because we are in the same time zone. We actually meet up a lot, meet up quite often. I think as a long distance couple, I think we meet up quite often. My friends, family, my partner are very supportive, and I'm so grateful I have this support network. I am someone who really needs to talk to their friends about my problem, what am I going through. So yeah, I love my support system, my support network. I love them so much. So I have been following more digital nomad from Hong Kong, from rest of the world. If you are a digital nomad and you listen to this episode and you have some advice you would love to give, please DM me. My Instagram is @sadie, SADIESTK. Find me on Instagram. I think I'll be doing this digital nomad thing for at least a year. After that, we'll see how that goes. Maybe I hate it, maybe I end it before a year, maybe I keep doing this for many more years. I actually do see myself going to grad school for a master degree, maybe on the East Coast, back in the US, maybe in Europe. But I do see that happen after 25 and before 30. Like, it's not something that is happening in short term. And the last thing I want to talk about is my dad. Again, I think I have already mentioned this. I don't think I can do this without my dad. He paid for my college tuition. I'm grateful for that. He also left me this money so I can do this right after college. I would like to talk about my dad for a little bit. My dad was a traveler. He loved traveling, especially Thailand, which I have already mentioned. He loved water sports. He loved snorkeling. He loved scuba diving. When I was a kid, when I was still in kindergarten, I remember he would go on this month-long trip and bring me cute souvenirs. He went backpacking before backpacking is a thing. Before he passed away, he told me he was planning to retire and become an expat in Thailand, but he was too late for that. Cancer has caught him. That's why you shouldn't smoke. So yeah, I think being a digital nomad is a great way to honor his legacy. I think he would be very happy that I have decided to use his money for traveling. I think, yeah, because he was a traveler. Next episode, I actually want to talk about how I have been dealing with the death of my father. I think dealing with the death of your parent in your 20s is extremely heartbreaking, especially when you see people who don't have to go through that until like way later in life. Being an international student, like going through that as an international student was also really hard, and I kind of just want to share what has helped me to overcome the grief, what movies, books, TV shows that have helped me overcome the grief. Grief is not linear, and I think as a person who has gone through this, maybe I got something to share. So let me know what you think about this idea for next episode, and let me know what you think about this episode. Send me a DM. My Instagram again is sadie, STK. My threads is sadie, STK. You can also comment on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. This is actually my 5th time recording this episode. I don't want to get into that, why I just keep feeling like I could do better, and then so I just force myself to keep recording this until I have the ideal version of this episode, because I feel like this is pretty important to me. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. I am happy that you decided to listen to my live update. If you like this episode, follow this podcast and listen to my previous episode. I'll be talking to you guys soon. See you next week.